Every NFL game is a story. This is one of them. December 14th, 2008. Carolina Panthers, Denver Broncos. It's not a rivalry. Not yet, anyways. Of course, they met in Super Bowl 50 later, but this wasn't a revenge game. It wasn't even annual. This was the third time they ever met. Week 15, two good teams standing on very different ledges. The Broncos came in at 8-5, leading the AFC West, with Mike Shanahan still in charge, and Jay Cutler in the middle of his first Pro Bowl season. Denver could throw it. Brandon Marshall, Eddie Royal, Tony Scheffler, Daniel Graham. There are weapons, but the team was fragile. The defense was not championship level. The running back room had been chewed up, and the whole operation had the feel of a team trying to outrun itself. Carolina came in at 10-3 and much more settled. John Fox had one of his most Fox teams. Defense, field position, Steve Smith, Jake Delhomme, and the double trouble backfield of D'Angelo Williams and Jonathan Stewart. The Panthers had just beaten Tampa Bay on Monday night in one of the great We're Serious Now games in franchise history. They're unbeaten at home, and they weren't chasing respect. They're chasing playoff seeding. The shared history is short. Denver owned it. They beat Carolina 34-0 in 97, then 2017 and 2004. That's it. 2 meetings. 2 wins for Denver. But there's shared DNA in the football philosophy. Neither team was a spread-out basketball-on-grass team. Denver, under Shanahan, had long been built on the marriage of run-game structure and quarterback aggression. Carolina, under Fox, believed in the older gospel: hit, run, punt if you have to, then make the other team blink. There's a future shadow here, too. John Fox eventually coaches the Broncos. These franchises eventually meet in a Super Bowl. But in 2008, that's all invisible. Right now, it's just Denver trying to close the division and Carolina trying to look like a team that could win the NFC. And the quarterback contrast is excellent. Jay Cutler's the arm. First-round pick out of Vanderbilt, 11th overall in 2006. He was big, confident, stubborn, and talented enough that every throw looked possible. That was the gift and the problem. In 2008, he threw for more than 4,500 yards. Denver trusted him to carry. A lot. Jake Delhomme was not that kind of quarterback. He went undrafted out of Louisiana, developed through the Saints and NFL Europe, then reborn in Carolina. He'd already taken the Panthers to Super Bowl 38 and thrown one of the most famous touchdown passes in Super Bowl history to Masih Muhammad. Delhomme wasn't smooth. He was emotional, tough, streaky, and he was dangerous late. He played like a man trying to win a bar fight, with timing routes. The coaches were just as clear. Mike Shanahan was a Denver institution. Back-to-back Super Bowls, John Elway, Terrell Davis, the zone run game. But by December 2008, the glow was fading. John Fox was his opposite in presentation. Less wizard, more foreman. Former Giants defensive coordinator. He took Carolina from 115 wreckage to the Super Bowl in just 2 years. His teams didn't always sparkle, but when they were right, they were hard to enjoy playing. This game started like Denver might steal the day. Cutler led a 61-yard opening drive and finished it with a 7-yard touchdown pass to P.J. Pope. Denver up 7-0, clean and early. Carolina answered immediately. Delhomme found Steve Smith from 15 yards out, and that was the first real sign of the afternoon. Smith wasn't just active, he was the matchup. He was the problem that Denver couldn't solve. The Broncos came back with a Matt Prater field goal. Carolina answered with John Casey. After one quarter, it's 10-10. Good game. Balanced game. Maybe a playoff preview if you squint. Then the Panthers started putting their hands around it. In the second quarter, Carolina drove 73 yards in more than 5 minutes, and Jonathan Stewart finished it from the 2. That made it 17-10. Late in the half, Denver gave Carolina a short field chance, and Casey added a 44-yarder. As the clock expired, that made it 20-10 at halftime. The weird thing is, it didn't feel like a blowout. Denver had moved the ball early. Cutler started fast. The Broncos were still in the AFC West's driver's seat. Then the third quarter began, and D'Angelo Williams removed the suspense. Carolina opened the half at its own 20. 4 plays later, Williams broke a 56-yard touchdown run. Not a grinded-out field goal drive, and not a careful possession. A detonation. Panthers 27, Broncos 10. That was the game. Denver still had possessions. Cutler still threw. Brandon Marshall, Eddie Royal, they still caught passes, but the field kept getting smaller. Carolina's defense squeezed out the easy stuff. Cutler finished with 172 yards, a touchdown, one interception. He was sacked 3 times. Denver finished with 279 yards and 0 second-half points. Carolina finished with 400 yards, and it was a very 2008 Panthers box score. Delhomme threw for 253 and a touchdown. Williams had 12 carries, but one of them broke the game. Jonathan Stewart did the heavier work and scored near the goal line. Moshe Muhammad added 70 yards, but the headline was Steve Smith. 9 catches, 165 yards, 1 touchdown. It's not a supporting stat, it's a hostile takeover. Casey added 1 more field goal in the 4th, and the final was Carolina 30, Denver 10. The post-game story split in 2 directions. For Carolina, it was confirmation. The Panthers were 11-3, undefeated at home, and had set up a massive game with the Giants the next week. The NFC was no longer just New York and everybody else. Carolina, they had a real argument. They could run, they could explode to Smith, they could protect Delhomme, and they could close games. For 1 week, everything about the Fox formula looked stable. For Denver, this still isn't disaster. Not yet. The Broncos were 8-6, still positioned to win the AFC West. Losing at Carolina was defensible, because Carolina is excellent. The danger was not the loss by itself. The danger was how empty Denver looked after the first quarter. Then the rest of the season told the truth. Carolina went to New York the next week in a battle for the NFC's top seed. They lost 34-28 in overtime, in a physical game where D'Angelo Williams scored 4 touchdowns, and the Giants still outlasted them. Carolina recovered in Week 17, beating the Saints 33-31 in New Orleans on a late John Casey field goal. That gave them the NFC South at 12-4 and the number 2 seed. Then came the cliff. Arizona came to Charlotte in the divisional round and beat Carolina 33-13. Delhomme threw 5 interceptions and lost a fumble on his birthday. The best Panthers team between 2005 and 2015 vanished in one night. Denver's cliff came sooner. The Broncos lost at home to Buffalo, then went to San Diego in Week 17. With the division on the line, the Chargers destroyed Denver 52-21. Both teams finished 8-8, but San Diego won the AFC West. Denver became the team that had a 3-game division lead with 3 to play, still somehow missed. 2 days later, Mike Shanahan was fired. So this game isn't famous because of what it decided that day. It didn't crown Carolina. It didn't eliminate Denver. And it didn't look historic in real time. It's famous because of what it revealed. Carolina looked complete, but still had a quarterback volatility problem waiting in January. Denver looked pretty close, but they're already at the end of the Shanahan era. Sitting in the middle is this clean little chapter. Broncos 10, Panthers 30. First Panthers win in the series. A late Fox-era Carolina peak. A late Shanahan-era Denver warning siren. Not a rivalry game yet, but history was loading the rematch. Well, thanks for spending time with me, and I'll see you next time.